Watchers 2 was a film that I did in Corman Studios, which was about a dog that could communicate. And I really enjoyed making that film. My very first shot, sort of like the Beastmaster, my very first shot in Watchers 2 was to come hurtling out of a great big kind of sewer opening into a tub, like a standing swimming pool full of goo and sewage. And that was my opening shot. Okay, action. And there we are. Oh, look, we're making movies.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Ben. Very, very nice guy. Thank you so much for that. For those interested, requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, randomness, out of the blueness, commentaries, rankings, lists, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. I will get to them as soon as I can. And he wanted me to do a commentary on Watchers 2. I have a lot to say about this, so let's get into it. I have a pause at the beginning. It is still up on YouTube, not this HD version, but there is a, from the old DVD version, still up on YouTube for those who want to follow along. Pause at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. And then we have Concord Presents. Very well done music. I always like the music in this. Concord Centaur production. This is a Roger Corman production. Watchers 1 came out in 1988, give or take. Did not set the box office on fire, but it did decent on VHS, so they said, okay, let's make the next one direct-to-video. Marc, who had done The Beastmaster, the TV show V. He's great in this. Tracy Scoggins, we're going to be in Babylon 5, among others. I think her and Marc did another film together. Irene Miracle, who plays Marc's ex-wife in this. Mary Warrenov, she's been quite a few Corman productions. She was also in Death Race 2000. Rick Conrad did a great job with the writing. I mean, the music in this. Really enjoy the score. And the thing is, this is it's a B movie, but this is a B movie where people tried. And that's the thing, I like when they try. Like there's a film in 97 called Aberration. There's films like Death Machine. Now, screenplay Henry Dominant, that's not a real person. It's actually, I think, two people. I think it's the same two people that were going to write Terminator 3, Catwoman. So this might be the best film they wrote. Terry Knotts. He directed The Terror Within before this. And I like The Terror Within. It was on Blu-ray, but it was for 1,000 copies. And before I could try to get it, it was out of print. It was The Terror Within 1 and 2, both on Blu-ray. I mean, you can pick it up for $70 if you want, but I'm not. Now, the guy on the left here, speaking of The Terror Within, the guy on the left, the black guy, he was also in The Terror Within. He was kind of the Yaphet Kotto type of character. And The Terror Within was kind of an alien movie, but it was on Earth, underground, in a bunker. George Kennedy was in a pretty decent creature feature. And the monster in that was featured in this film, Project Aesop. And I gotta say, I hate the fact that there's no features on this. I found, like, Marc, sadly, it was only 30 seconds because the interviewers didn't go deep into it. But Marc did talk about the film, and he said he enjoyed making it. Again, sadly, it's only 30 seconds, and maybe I'll put that at the beginning if I don't forget. And that's the only bit of the interview he talks about, because the interviewers didn't ask. I would love to ask Marc about this film. I would love to. Just Stream Factory didn't care to do so. I mean, if he enjoyed making the film, and he was willing to talk about all the blue in an interview, granted in 30 seconds, then whatever. But there's Tracy Scoggins, beautiful lady. But I will say the film looks good in 2K. I never thought that this would happen, that this would get a Blu-ray, and it would look so good. Because I had this, the Watchers 1 and 2 DVD, This is from Artisan Entertainment. This is pretty much VHS copies put onto the same disc. And still surprised that Watchers 1 doesn't have a Blu-ray. So we need to get that film on Blu-ray. But there are two choices on the Blu-ray, 185 and 133. 185, oh, it's pushed in. No, it looks great. It looks like that's how it's naturally supposed to be. I think it was the other way around. I think this is originally how it was supposed to be filmed. And then for VHS, they pulled it back for full frame. So you see a little bit more on the top and the bottom, but the left and right are black. So if you do get this, 185 is the way to go. It fills up the screen and you're not missing anything. There's no heads cut off or anything from the screen. Now, Watchers 2, I grew up with. It's one of those childhood favorites. You know how a lot of people, like, you look at interviews with directors and such, and they talk about, oh, I saw this film and this film on TV or on cable or in the theater. And usually it's like a 1950s monster movie, or they watch like a horror film host. And for a lot of us, these were our 1950s monster movies. Films like this. Films like, for me, Leviathan. All sorts of stuff. Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. And watch this on VHS. Rent in from the video store or whatever store, gas station. I mean, VHS was everywhere. Don't open it. It's your ass, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Goodbye. You gave him a bite to eat. You took him out to dinner. Free dinner. Should have brought a gun. Oh, the black guy didn't die first. He just died second. But he didn't die first. Again, Tracy Scoggins does a great job. She's likable. Marc Sinner's likable. That's the thing. You get adult actors who try to give a good performance and they do a nice job. It's not like a lot of these B, more like Z-grade movies like Cicada that I saw recently. These asylum films, sci-fi channel films that just try to be bad on purpose. They get garbage acting, garbage effects, garbage filmmaking, garbage music. Everything is garbage. And no one tries, and then we're supposed to like it because it's so bad. No, I want your film to try. I believe this other actor on the right, he was also in The Terror Within. So the director definitely, he took some actors and the monster from The Terror Within to use in this film. The world must be a beautiful place for you. But yeah, a lot of us grew up with these type of films because they're just good versus evil, deal with this problem, practical effects with charm, actors who actually tried to give a good performance, to have a likable character. I don't know why that's such a hard thing to fathom nowadays. And it wasn't just, okay, cast a 20-year-old and they look pretty and that's more than their acting capability. Or again, just act bad on purpose because it's funny. No. Here, like this guy who plays the doctor. NSA, the National Security Agency. The doctor's name is Jonathan Farwell. He's the guy with the lollipop, the ice cream. It's not lollipop, but his ice cream. And like I said, I grew up with this film. This is a childhood favorite. I remember I'd seen Watchers 1 on VHS and loved the film. Corey Haim is greatly missed. As a kid, it's an endearing idea. Just as a kid, you like monster movies, but then you like pets, dogs, cats, whatever. So, okay, you have a dog that has this psychic bond, and then you have this creature that goes around killing people. For the most part, likes to mess up the eyes because it thinks it's so ugly it doesn't want people to see it. Interesting idea. And Watchers 1 is, I think... No, I know it's one of my favorite Corey Haim films. Fun monster movie. Again, it deserves a Blu-ray. Deserves a special edition, honestly, but... Again, it's not even on Blu-ray. Now... Then when I was growing up, we had this grocery store called Hy-Vee. Pretty much, we lived in a town. We lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and the closest town was maybe 5 miles in each direction. There were two towns, but then if you went like 30, 40 miles, which is actually was going across the Minnesota border, we would go to this town called Fairmont, Minnesota, and that's where you could actually find places to go to shop, whether it be a Walmart or a Kmart. There's a place called Shopko. My favorite place is a store called On Q. That's where I had just movies and CDs and, well, it was before CDs, but it was like, but there was a Hy-Vee, and this was when I was even younger. Hy-Vee, it was a big grocery store, probably the size of like your Walmart grocery store portion, and there was a section of movies to rent, VHS. And each month they would have a program, and I wish I kept these programs. There's like a little thing you could pick up, and you flip through, and it shows all the movies coming out. And one of them was Watchers 2. I'm like, wait, there's a Watchers 2? Wow. Well, I know Watchers 1, and the cover, it was this cover. I always thought this cover looked cool. Does you have the hero, you have a beautiful lady, you got a shotgun, you got a monster in the background. As a kid, you're like, that's what you want. You want action, you want a hero, you want a monster, beautiful ladies. What more does a kid want? And saw it and loved it. It was simple, it was basic, but it did its job, what it was supposed to. Again, likable characters, practical monster, doesn't, well paced. Some humor that made me chuckle. A little bit of action. When the monster's dead, the movie's over. The acting was good, on point. Here's Mary Warrenov. She worked with Roger Corman a lot. Like I said, she was in Death Race 2000. She was in a lot of stuff with Roger Corman producing. And you notice the doctor's thumb, he's accidentally cut himself with the blade. I don't think I ever noticed that until I saw this on HD. Like, when I was watching the Blu-ray, I'm like, oh yeah, he did cut himself. Do you see, like, the blood coming out? Now you have this device, this tracker, which a friend of mine said, it looks like the tracker from a Steve in New York. Yeah, I guess it does. Maybe it's the same world as it. Few years after this, it would be, maybe State Plistian is around in this world. In a few years, New York will be a maximum security prison. Maybe that's how, the tractor was made in the first place. But I remember when I grew up with these two films, these two films here. And in school, in the library, there was the book Watchers by Dean Koontz. And I read it, and I just could not get into the book. The book was very heavy-handed. It was a lot of pontificating, and like each chapter you had like, not much happened. It was a military guy, kind of like Marc Cena in here, meeting up with a woman. I didn't kind of like this one. I would say of the movies, this is probably the closest to the book. Although it's still fairly different from the book. In my opinion, it's good, because I'm not a fan of the book. It was just, like, these two met, and there's the dog, and they go to this cabin, and they kind of just mess around this cabin forever, and the monster just going around talking about its existence and what it all means, and then you have this agent guy who believes that if he kills someone, he takes their soul. Which is kind of like what they're trying to do with Michael Ironside in the first one, but not really. It was just, again, very lame, not much happened. It just wasn't exciting, it wasn't scary. I could see why someone, hey, you know what, this plot's kind of intriguing. Take the basis and go along with it. Yeah, Einstein's like, get me the hell away from here. I warned him not to go down. But yeah, pretty much, growing with these two films, it was much later until I saw the sequels, because there are 4 of these movies. So this film must have done decent enough on VHS to spurn a third movie, which has Wings Hauser, who funny enough worked with Marc Scener in Beastmaster 2, and Wings Hauser played a character named Paul Ferguson. Now, I don't know if it's still supposed to be a sequel to this, because when you hear about that Paul Ferguson's background, it doesn't quite track with this, because some of the dialogue is like counterintuitive with what this was doing. So it was like a different backstory, and there's no Tracy Scoggins character. So I don't know. It's like, okay, we won't keep the name, but it's not really a sequel. And that's like one of the questions we'll love to ask Marc Scener. Did they ever ask you to be in a third one, or did they not? How did you get involved with the project? All this other stuff. I mean, I'm sure he just asked Beastmaster all the time. I'd want to talk about this with him. But, yeah, the Watchers 3, I don't mind for what it is. It's more like a Predator ripoff. So at least it wasn't the same as this one. It's Mark's Wings Hauser's character is in jail, and he's given a mission with this group of people to go out and hunt this creature. As he's doing it, he finds Einstein, who he's known in the past, and but then he gives like a little backstory. Like he mentions he has a daughter. I'm like, this Marc Scener doesn't have a daughter. So that's what I mean. It's not the same Paul Ferguson, it's just a different one. Because that Paul Ferguson has a daughter. If he had a daughter in this, they would mention it. There's no daughter, and so I always thought this was a nice. Yeah, the scream, the echo, right about here, and this explosion. It's like we don't have the budget to show it, but like the echo of the scream seems a bit creepy, and the fire explosion does a little exclamation point on it. I'll talk about the other sequels later, but here we got Marc Scener as Paul Ferguson. I like his nice buzz cut, sort of fatigues, however you want to call it, camouflage, desert. I don't know how you call that. With the MPs going to the stockade. It does sound pretty good. You have video games, color TV, and he's structured a superior officer. You'll find out later in the film why that's the case. What can I say? The guy was an asshole. You can't go slutting every asshole in the Marines. You won't have any knuckles left. And right here you get the idea of how good of a guy this is. This crappy guy says, hey, 2 points, which might be a reference to Death Race 2000, because it's a Roger Corman production. Hey, 2 points, and you hit people, you get points, and then Marc Scener by action, like, wait a minute, that's not right, that's not cool, what the hell are you doing? So right from the get-go, you showcase the humanity of this main character. They didn't have to go into monologues, they didn't have to go and this and that. By actions, oh, yeah, this is a good guy. He's got a little bit of a sense of humor, but he does the right thing. Hitting the dog is not cool. And you also may, okay, these MPs, hey, if he dies, oh well. He deserves it. Marc Scener's character doesn't. Made me easy to root for him. And this is a scene that always struck me as a kid watching it, because I like the way it's filmed. I think Terry Knotts, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, because never find any interviews with the guy, because this whole scene plays out with no music. A lot of times it'd be like loud music or scary music. The fact that it's all with no music makes it a bit creepier. And then it's the fact that we don't see the attack, we just see the gun flashes. and a stream, and he just rolls into the lights, the headlights. Again, it makes our imagination fill in the blanks. It's reveal the helmet and then the body right about now. Again, the fads not play with. There's no music, and it's just a. I think as a kid, it's like, man, imagine if you're handcuffed, you're tied up, you can't move, and you just see it from his perspective. I think that's the thing, is that by doing it that way, we saw it from Marc Singer's perspective. He would not be able to see what's going on. He would just see these gun flashes. He would hear this dream. He'd see the guy fall into frame. And it's like, man, this guy's in a shitty situation. And thankfully Einstein is there. Good dog. I didn't like this music. I do like the score. The monster's having a field day with that guy's ass. Well, not in that way. And then you just have sort of this predator type of vision. And lo and behold, one of those times where the car does start. It's that dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, it doesn't start. The eyeballs are gone, and oop, there you go. Get the hell out of my way. There you go. Have the monster in shadow. I always wonder, like, why the background there looks so purple. It's an interesting look for it. But then you don't make the guy an ass. Like the dog, you have the dog do this thing, and what does he do? He pets it. Again, little things that you do to make the character likable. Which I know is such a weird thing to do. Why you can't have likable characters, I don't know. I saw that film X. Why should I like those characters? They're trying to film a dumb, bad porno film. Your lead's just doing drugs and getting horny. There's no little bits here and there of them being a decent person or them being a good person. You ever want to be Matthew McConaughey? Hey, touch my dick. Feel my cock. Here, right from already, it's okay. There's a backstory. He had a superior officer. There's a sense of humor. Again, he saves the dog because these guys are trying to be asses. Treating the dog well. And the dog is well trained whenever they get the dog in these movies. He was well trained in the first one, well trained in this one, as he's going to go meet his ex-wife, Irene Miracle. Another character that they do a decent job making you feel for. So that when she dies, you feel bad. Because, yes, these two are separated. You know, she's a bit annoyed because it's the middle of the night and what's going on. But she does help him out. These agents come in, she lies to them because she still has a fondness for him and she believes in him and she helps him out, escape the house. And she wants to believe in him because there's a part of her that still cares for him. And what does she get for it? The monster arrives there and kills her. Lo and behold, we actually like the character. We actually feel bad when she dies. Wow, we can't do that nowadays. And it's okay, you think they don't go to an argument, but then Marc Singer just, any shell he has is broken down to be like, listen, I swear you'll never see me again if you just help me out here. I don't know what happened. Because how do you explain it? There's a monster that looks really weird. It looks like a, I don't know, an anteater. If a man, anteater man. I mean, how do you explain it? You just saw two people die from a monster. How do you explain it? I want to know how. Would you? To have it make sense and not make you go into the nut house? See, like, little thing there, like, oh, I'll give you a blanket. Oh, well, actually, I don't know who's this other guy. Sarah, come on up. Mike's a snappy dresser. Well, she says you didn't drink the toilet, but Dodd ain't gonna like that. You shit out of luck, what can I say? And that's another thing, the motif of the monster, the reason he plucks eyeballs out is because it thinks it's so ugly, which is furthered by later on when it looks at the mirror and it smashes it up and doesn't want anyone to see it as well. There's a tractor, he's gonna... That tractor in his hands gonna find the president. That's right, I know if I had this, I'd be president. But yeah, Watchers 3, like I said, it's alright for what it is. It's like a Predator ripoff, and... I mean... I thought there would be like a pack of all the Watchers films. I thought Vestron would do that. Because Vestron has been releasing some of the stuff Artisan had. Like, I think Artisan had Candyman 3. I know they had Waxwork 1 and 2. Just the way this was done, the Artisan also did Waxwork 1 and 2. The same thing, 2 movies on 1 disc. The line in the middle here. Yeah. The line in the middle here. There was a Waxwork 1 and 2 done just this way, and Vestron released Waxwork 1 and 2, but... And again, they released like a Wishmaster set, a Warlock set with all 3 movies, Wishmaster, all 4 movies. So I figured, okay, they're going to do a Watcher set with all 4 movies. No. Instead, I guess because The Terror Within, that was the same director, and that was a Corwin production, then they got this, Concord, since they did Terror Within. And then limited. Like this was limited to 1,500. If I had the money, I would buy another one, just a brand new one, just because it's a personal favorite, and I wouldn't sell it. I'd keep it, just as a personal favorite. But I can't pay $33 when I just have the movie, you know. But Mike's a snappy dresser. That was getting sick of camouflage. And here's him. Yeah, told me you were upstairs giving a fashion show to a cute little dog. And like you can't blame her for being confused. Like, what's going on? And again, like, how do you explain it? And he's telling the truth. And it's hard for her to explain. And he's like, Marc Cena, I mean, I didn't grow up with the Beastmaster like other people did. I have seen it, and I'm in between. Like I don't mind the Beastmaster. You know, as years go on, it's like, yeah, I don't mind it for what it is. It's just, I think what it is just, in a weird way, people always talk about the Beastmaster with Marc Cena, and they always negate films like this, and it's just like, I just personally enjoyed this more. This was just more my cup of tea. The modern, at the time, horror monster movie, shotgun blasting. I like the character. I think Marc Cena has more to work with as a character. Like this bit with him and his ex-wife. And then you have this like doo-wop music from the 50s. But again, this is ex-wife. How many times have we seen an ex-wife in a movie, but she's bitchy, or she's terrible, or she's horrible, or she's two-faced, or she turns and, yeah, make her so unlikable, and this is not the case here. She does something for him, helps him out. Again, those agents asked her later, she lies to help him. And even this little bit here. Oh, wait. You know, this line here. No, I mean, thanks for all of it. For believing in me. Like, that's a nice little sweet scene. And that's one of the things about the writing is that later on, when she dies, the script doesn't just forget about her. Now, I don't know, would Aerobics Place just be called Aerobics? Maybe it would, I don't know, but... think this guy's his best friend, my ass. Yeah, you know. And then you have, okay, but they follow the current of, no, this guy did just lose a woman that he was in love with. So they don't force a love story between these two characters. He still remembers it. He wants to kill it because I owe Sarah, his ex-wife, that much. There's a point where he sees the monster and he's ready to kill it, even with just this, like, I don't know, it's like a candlestick or whatever the hell it is. That, how many times does someone close to someone die and then they completely forget about it in the script? This didn't do that, but no one wants to mention that. There you go. It is a nice car. 63 Chevy SS, eh? I wonder where they got this car. I wonder if it, like, belonged to someone on the crew, or they just found it. It's weird this guy doesn't question, wait, why does this guy want me to trade this great car for this piece of hunk of a... But I guess the guy's like, oh, I'll do it. Doesn't think twice about it. Now, of course, they make this bit here of that there's construction so that to showcase why the place looks the way it looks. Like, for the end of the film. Where it doesn't look like a normal apartment because it's under construction. There's things not, you know, fixed up, and there's boards everywhere, and here we get to the motel. This does look like a cheap hotel, well, motel. I wonder, like, if this is a location somewhere, or like what the deal is with that. See, this is what I mean. Like, Irene Miracle lies and in order to protect Marc Sener's character, and sadly, she gets killed for it. Like, she doesn't believe in them. She trusts him. She lies to them about, you know, how bad he is, but in order to get him off the trail. But then she has that picture, and she looks at it, and you can tell, you know, she does still care and hopes that he'll be alright. That's what I'm talking about. Like, these B movies back then actually tried to either give people personalities or make them likable or some type of thing. A lot of people don't try nowadays. Now it's like, hey, The Room and Sharknado, let's try to be as bad as we can be and as awful we can be, and that will be justified somehow. I'm tired of that. Or they get a lot of bad CG, or just they don't know how to write characters, or even this is some nice lighting. Have the light through the shades, so you have this look on Marc Sener's face. I think that's some nice piece of lighting there. Now we get to one of the scenes I remember when I was a kid. In fact, I had another channel. It's still up, I just never used it, called Ramble Raff Films. And I had this. This is one of the scenes I uploaded on there. Just like scenes from Watchers 2. I looked at it recently. There's like 13,000 views on that. So there's a lot of people that remember this film. But they probably don't know this film came out on Blu-ray because there's not much promotion. I would not have known until someone on Facebook told me this film came out. My friend Effrey is a big fan of this film. He didn't know until I told him. So, like, no one knows this film's out on Blu-ray and that it's only 1,500 copies. So, but yeah, this is one of the scenes uploaded, and you know, the dog understand what's going on, and you just hung up on a colonel. Now, of course, he's going to be reading the vegetable, pineapple, like fruit and vegetable pizza, and dog's like, "What the hell are you doing?" But then when he does the meat lovers, the dog wants it. So I don't blame the dog. Meat lovers all the way. I would go pepperoni, bacon, and sausage. Sounds good. I wish. Sadly, though, where I live, they can't deliver out here. It's too far, so it sucks. But I guess, it saves money. But still, it sucks that. Just, once in a while, it'd be nice to call and be, hey, have some pizza delivered. Can't do it. It sucks. But it is what it is. Star Motel. Now, each of these Watchers films is always a scene where Einstein has to convince people how smart he is. And, okay, you so goddamn smart, you tell me, what is my next move? That's for me. I thought the humor worked well. I don't think it was cringy. I don't think it was cheesy. Because in the first Watchers, you had either Einstein at Corey Haim's school typing on the computer. You had the stuff with the Scrabble later on. Also, like the mom hold, which president is who and who's who. Here you got this stuff here where it's White. Someone named White. But yeah, Watchers 3, it's alright for what it is. The thing is, the monster never looked great in each of these movies, but like, especially the first two, I could deal with it. There's some warts on the monster, but there's a charm to the practical nature of the monster, and I did still enjoy and like it. And these films didn't have, $10, $20 million, $50 million budgets. And then there's Watchers 4, Watchers Reborn. Watchers Reborn was like a bad remake of this film. Now, you just say, well, each one kind of its own movie, and you just say this is a remake of the first film, because they don't connect. Like, you can watch this without watching the first one. But at least the differences, I think, worked well, where one was a boy, this is a military guy. Sorry, my mind fried. I'm thinking Watchers Reborn. And the thing is, like, that film is directed by John Carl Buechler. It stars Marc Hamill, Lisa Wilcox from Elm Street 4, Stephen Mott from The Monster Squad. Kane Hodder has an appearance in it. And when I say it's like a remake of this one, a grown man, grown woman, dealing with this dog. And it tries to do scenes in that film that's like this film. Like the opening with Watchers coming in, and 2, they do like the same type of opening in Watchers Reborn. The scene with the shop, and there's a little bit of humor. You see that later on in this, with how expensive an item is. They try to do a scene like that in Watchers Reborn, only Kane Hodder is the clerk. Alright, if it means so goddamn much to you. Like I said, Marc Senior and the dog worked very well together. And it's well trained. And, credit goes to the trainer in these films. And Golden Retriever, cute dog. I mean, I'm not good with breeds of dogs. Like, if you show me a dog, I wouldn't know what the hell breed it was. Because I was always more of a cat guy. But smart ass. I mean, they say that in a movie it's hard to work with children or animals, but so I don't know how hard it was to work with. But I'm sure for Marc Scener it was a walk in the park because you think of all the animals he worked on with in Beastmaster. It's like working with a dog was a piece of cake compared to that. I mean, think of all the critters he had to work with, both Beastmaster 1 and 2. I mean, lions and all this other stuff, and a dog. It's a piece of cake. And I'm sure someone who's new would watch this film nowadays, and to be honest, I think they would not think much of it. They just go, oh, it's so low budget. There's not a lot of action. Where's the action? Where's the spectacle? And that's the thing with a lot of these B movies nowadays. They try to invoke spectacle, but then it's done. It looks bad. It looks like a bad video game. It looks cheap. It looks like bad CGI, bad monsters going around, maybe killing people, but bad special effects, and the big super gator comes out and cartoon CGI and grabs this and smashes that, and it just takes you out of the movie. And yeah, some people like it because they laugh at that stuff, but it's like, how many times can you do that till it gets old? It's like trying to have sugar every day. It's not healthy for you. Back in the day when you'd have a pizza delivery guy smoking a cigarette. Try having that nowadays. I mean, I don't know if I want to pay a pizza delivery guy that has a cigarette in his mouth. But did you have these ashes drop on the damn pizza box? If so, I ain't paying for it. And here's the monster. Because the monster, the gist of the story is the monster follows the dog. And you see that employed in Watchers 3, which is one of the more interesting things about Watchers 3, is, they talk about how this is employed for military practices. They do that in Watchers 3. They have the dog in there, then the monster goes in, kills some people. So the dog's out there in the jungle and the creature's following it. And Watchers 3 I would not mind. Let's say if they did a 3-pack of Watchers 1, 2, and 3, if 4's in there, fine. I don't have to watch it, but it could be in there. But yeah, now like Watchers 2 was on this, and I don't know about the other films. You think the first one, I don't know. Maybe one of those weird things, here's Watchers 1 and 3 or something. I don't know what the deal is. But someone asked Stream Factory, and they said, well, yeah, we don't have the film. So, nice breastises on Irene Miracle. No, that's not Paul. But again, this is a character that doesn't deserve this fate, and that's why you feel bad when this happens. Again, I'm still amazed that, this film did get a Blu-ray. It's like, it's about time. But, yeah, of this year, this is definitely my favorite release. I don't think it'll be because, again, this is a childhood favorite that I never thought would get cleaned up. And, like I said, I wish there were features. I don't know why Stream Factory cheaped out on that. I mean, March... Like, even from, like, Skype or StreamYard, it'd be StreamYard. Interview Marc Scener for 5 minutes. in both, there was a Starlord magazine in 2000 where he talked about making the film. And then someone did like the interview at the end of the whole thing. They talked mostly of Beastmaster and V. And the guy like brought up Deep Space for some reason. And Marc Senior brought up Watchers too. But sadly, it was only for 30 seconds. I'm like, man, I wish they would have talked more about it. But there's the monster. And he hates how he looked, so he smashes the mirror. And that's why he plucks out the eyeballs, because he doesn't want anyone to see him. And yes, it's a man in a suit, but it's still something physically there, tangible. You still see it within the universe it lives in. It doesn't feel like this big separation of cartoon CGI to it just takes you out of the movie. Ripped her head off, plucked her eyes out, and put her in a toilet. So not only did she die, but she died in such a vicious way. Makes the monster that much evil. And I mean, this is not a gory film. So that's why I think maybe new people, they'd be disappointed that it's not that gory and violent. It's not that action-packed. And they go, well, wait, how come you like this so much? Because like I said, it does the basics, but the basics are done well enough. Now it does satisfy me as a kid. It still holds up for me. I don't know why this motel owner always liked when they have these side characters, and they did a guy with a unique look and personality. No pets. You pay extra for pets. You send me a bill. I think that motel owner looks like he'd be one of the people Basti case. Like he'd be working at the hotel or something Basti case. Yeah, this kid, they should go get lucky and beautiful lady. But they ain't gonna make it. This kid is, it's sad. This kid thought he was gonna make it, and now his life ain't gonna make it. But he's like so many I mean, like, it'd be so. Yeah, whatever. But it'd be cool, like, okay, who played the monster? Did that guy who played the monster, was he a stuntman to do the crashing through the window? Because your crash through a window is not an easy thing to do, especially with a suit where who knows how much you can actually see. And you gotta crash head first into it. And those two are dead. For some reason, he hates pillows too. This is fucking kids. Well, he made it, at least. But yeah, Watchers Reborn, that's the fourth one. That's an awful movie. The reason it's awful, like I said, it tries to be like a lame version of this movie. Mark Hamill has nothing to do in the film. He's playing a police officer, but he's completely ineffective. I don't know, Mark Hamill's performance, he sounds drunk. His character sounds drunk for the entire film. What are you doing, dog? Why are you doing this and that? It just, to me, Mark Hamill's weakest performance. I gotta make sure I'm saying Mark Hamill, not Marc Senior. Different Mark. But Mark Hamill just... It is his weakest performance in Watchers Reborn. Lisa Wilcox, I liked her in Elm Street 4 as Alice, but she has nothing to do in that. And this is like, you have a guy who, instead of a military, is a cop. You have a woman who's a scientist, and who is working on the project, just like Tracy Scoggins in this. But that feels in a way cheaper. Like, that fourth film felt cheaper. Stephen Mott is your human villain, and then the monster, like, the monster becomes like a good guy and saves Lisa Waldcross from Stephen Mott, and then the monster dies in a fire, and Mark Hamill did nothing. There's a scene where Lisa Wilcox is kidnapped, and I swear to God, she like pushes oranges out. And so Mark Hamill, the reason he finds her, he follows a trail of oranges on the road. It's just so stupid. That's a horrible movie. The first three I like. It'd be 2, then 1, then 3, and then 4 sucks. But and I love the first watchers. This one I liked a bit more because I liked Corey Haim in the first one, but that was a time in his life where his voice would get squeaky at times. But yeah, I still enjoy Watchers, and I think this one just... I like the dynamic of Marc Cena and Tracy Scoggins more, and the finale with the shotgun and the sewer environment. Like, Marc Cena and Tracy Scoggins worked well together. And in that, I swear it was Starlog. I think it was in the year 2000 came out. He said he liked working with Tracy Scoggins, and these movies are meant to be fun. Because I know he said good things about, on the one interview, he said good things about Roger Corman. How Roger Corman, he tipped, that said about, like, David, he said that, like, David Carradine had said Corman helped keep the ranch open. Meaning, when bills were a bit on the heavy side, a lot of times Roger Corman would be there to help some of these guys get a job. So, I thought Marc Cena had some nice words to say about Roger Corman helping people out, to get jobs for them. And I think this film's a lot better than Deep Space. This is when he gets to find out that his ex-wife has passed away. Sarah McIntyre Ferguson. And you need to understand, like, Tracy Scoggins looks at this. She doesn't know what to think. She doesn't know this person. So let me shy away. Meanwhile, Einstein notices this and says, "Don't do that shit." And how do you play off that your wife passed away? Murdered. And it's shock. You could yell, you could scream, you could shout, or be in shock, and I think Marc Cena plays this off well. He just feels like he's been hit by a car. He feels like he's been the wind knocked out of him. And immediately Einstein's like, you notice in the up close when he got the pencil, like, the whole background was black. So that might have been a different... This might be a different set. Do you have a feeling that maybe like a puppet? Hey, Marc Singer still... And people go, "Oh, it's bad acting." No, it's not. It's a guy acting shocked because his wife... just found his wife was murdered. And kind of like in the first film, you have Einstein typing on the computer. The Outsider. Which is a nice name for the monster, the Outsider. In the first film, it was called Otzcom, or Otzcom. Was it Otzcon or Otzcom? I think the Otzcom. It here is called AE-73 or AE-74. But the Outsider is the best name for it. The Outsider. Not NW4 Live Outsiders. This is a different Outsider. Yeah, that's a decent puppet to use for the dog to type. Decent puppetry. Because it's not the actual dog typing. So now here you do a bit of exposition, but it doesn't feel extraneous. It doesn't feel boring. Because the two actors have good chemistry with each other, and you were playing dumb all this long? 1 bark for yes, 2 barks for no. Again, nice job with the music. The composer. I don't know what else the composer has done. I wonder if the composer worked on Terror Within as well. There's a lot of other people. I do like this bit here. I think where they looked at the computer and then it's coming. Like the little suspenseful music and the pushy computer. There you go. It's coming. Don't let it be coming. That'd be a different movie. Be a different rating. That's a different coming. That's with a U, not. Got some mellow yellow for the occasion. But that's the thing for a lot of these B movies back in the day. I mean, you look back, even the late 80s, you had Killer Clowns from Outer Space. You had films that still don't have a Blu-ray. Nightlife. That's about Scott Grimes as this high school kid getting bullied, and the bullies get killed, and this some type of gas chemical is in the air where the bullies got in a car crash. Their bodies come back to life, and as zombies, these bullies hunt down the kid they were tormenting when they were alive. And I'm like, okay, that's an interesting idea. Nightlife, 1989, still not even on DVD. You know, these creature films like Stephen King's Graveyard Shift was 1990. This was 1990. Later on you would have, let's say, Aberration was 97. That's an interesting, fun film that feels like an 80s movie. And throughout the 90s you'd have Deep Rising, The Relic, Mimic. Yes, some would employ more CG, and even though the budgets were bigger. And while some of the CG doesn't hold up the best, I still enjoy those monster movies. You don't really have monster movies nowadays. Or again, if you do, it's stupid like Sci-Fi Channel Asylum SYFY garbage stuff. See, back then, B movies, they looked at what they had and said, this is our limit, so let's see what we can do with our limit. Nowadays, the sky's the limit. Yeah, it'll be put into a computer, it'll look like it costs 85 cents, but I think that's the wrong idea. We could do everything, it'll just look like crap. No, see what you can do and make that look good. Like this film. Then you can work on stuff like this, like beginning to sink in. Sarah, I can't believe she's dead. It's a guy actually mourning for his ex-wife. Wow, character work, and it doesn't feel pretentious and up its own ass, and it feels natural. And he was like, why are you doing this? Like, you don't know me. And gives an honest answer. It's strange, but I trust the dog. Hey, maybe one day there'll be a romance. Maybe one day there'll be something between them. But right now, there's no time for love, Dr. Jones. And then you handle that well. You have the guy not forget about his ex that just died. There's a monster on the loose. There's no time to take our clothes off and fuck. But again, people don't think about that or talk about that. Training exercise. Oh, this is where he talks about why he struck his commanding officer. He's a real REMF. A rear echelon motherfucker. First time I ever heard that REMF, a rear echelon motherfucker. And it's about training, such about how a guy he knew lost both his legs on a training exercise because the guy sent them on the wrong coordinates. And boom, you now understand even more why he did it. You appreciate, yeah, I would punch the guy out too. I would punch the motherfucker out too. I don't blame him. Like I said, Marc Sr. is very likable in this. Easy to root for. But yeah, a lot of these B movies, we could do everything. We have the entire town being attacked, and we have this big gator 80 feet long, and it's a crocodile, and it's also a spider, and it's also a fish, and it's all this, and yeah, but it looks like it costs, $1.28. Doesn't matter. Like, it does matter. Hey, doctor. You're gonna kick your ass. You're gonna kick the shit out of you. And this film does not deserve a 4.2 on IMDb. Give me a break. That film, Cicada, 2018, 2020 film about some of these other... I mean, this does not deserve a 4.2. Not in the slightest. Give me a break. Why IMDb can't trust it. It's fun to use if it serves your own purpose, I'll admit. And I've done that before and I'll do it again, but despite any of that bluster, the truth about it is IMDb don't mean squat. I guess it does mean squat because I keep thinking about it, so I guess that's a lie too, but it makes me wonder, like, where is this location? Because look at the background. There's these hills and like not mountains, but these hills. Like, what is this location? And what is that like behind? And like, what is this house? Whose house is this? Like, whose house is that? That the point of view. But again, these are all questions that will never get answered because I'm one of the few people that cares about the film. There you go. Steal the tractor. Einstein knows what to do. I don't know how the hell did Einstein know about the tracker? Well, I guess there's a psychic link, so between the two, so I was gonna say that makes sense, but it's I know it's a ridiculous idea, but within the realm it makes sense. Back to the day with VHS tape. Nowadays it'd be a USB. Now, if you watch this on this DVD thing, well, it's a like VHS, the scene is much more blue, while this is much more kind of yellow-orange. Which makes sense with the environment. And that's what I was saying before, like, when it's crashing through, Marc Senior's like, well, smacked him, even with this. Because, again, he's mad that the thing killed his ex-wife. That's a natural human reaction that's understandable. I mean, putting little stuff in there, I think makes the film underrated. And people don't really give it that type of credit. And, like he says here, you try to tell someone there's a monster on the loose. Just, what would you do? What would you tell them? Nowadays, you could have a phone, record on your phone, show it. It wasn't the case in 1990. $30. Even Marc Senior's like, $30? Yeah, $30. Shouldn't breed animals in here. No kidding, not at these prices. That is pretty damn expensive, $30 for that shit. What is this? I don't know. Stole it from State Policeman. It's tracked to State Policeman. It was tracked to the President. The Outsider. And here we're watching the VHS. Back in the days when you had VHS. And an old school TV. That's the TVs we had growing up for folks out there. This is the type of TV we had growing up way throughout the many years. And the type of VHS that this film was first seen on. And it seems like what I've noticed is that if a film was shot on film, when you're cleaning it up, it has more of an ability to look better than a film shot on digital. At least that's what it seems like. Because you have films that were shot like 35mm or just on regular film. When they get cleaned up, they just have a much more of a punch to it than a film shot on digital. And maybe that's just me, but that's what it seems like. That was the whole exposition, what the whole plan was. And Tracy Scoggins says it best here. Dog spies, monster assassins. This is totally insane. This is completely insane. Yeah, but you did use this thing in the military. See, that right there, it knows. Like, Tracy Scoggins literally says this plot is insane. And Marc goes, yeah, you did use this in the military, though. But at the same time, it's not being just a goof. It's not just being a parody. If you do that once in a while, that's fine. But when every B movie tries to be funny and tries to be a parody, there's nothing about you special. And people, every sci-fi channel is silent. They want to be a Sharknado, so they make Clownado and all these other movies. You'd be surprised. This is America. Don't you have a credit card? Yeah, you buy all this stuff. You buy from the same store that was in Commando, which was a store that had the damn 4 rocket launcher. I don't know any stores that have. That's the thing about Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Would a store, even a gun store, have a damn rocket launcher with 4 fucking things? But it's Commando. I love it. But it's one of those things you think about, like, damn, anyone could just buy this thing? Just go to the store here and buy a fucking rocket launcher. Is there a specific name for that has the 4 rockets in it? I don't know. Going off tangent. But that bit there where he says, I owe Sarah that much. Again, they keep that line, they keep that through line for the film. I'm sure people would say this is racist, but because everything's racist. Don't ask me why they would say just everything's racist nowadays. And yeah, for those wondering, there's only a trailer on this, and again, you just see it full frame of widescreen, which is 185. 185 is the one I recommend, and at least there's photos. And then that's the back. And then of course the front. What the fuck is going on, man? He doesn't say it yet. It says about here. When the Special K fell on him. Monster fucks up a guy in a wheelchair. Jason Voorhees did it. Freddy Krueger did it. I don't believe in fairy tales. Jason Voorhees did it in Friday the 13th Part 2. Freddy Krueger in Elm Street 3. And the monster wants a little Care Bear as well. I know it's not a Care Bear, but I'll call it Care Bear just because. It's a bear and it looks like a tear, so it's a Care Bear. There you go. Get ready for war. I remember when I had maybe my first channel, I would do just like music video tributes, and I did one for this, but I forgot what song it was. It's been so long, Sally, I don't have it anymore. Wish I did. Wish I had all those. But that was long ago, and that was before I knew about saving videos and all that jazz. And Marc Cena said there that these are explosive charges. That's why later on when Tracy Scoggins shoots, it makes such a big blast of the monster. Or when the bad guy gets in, it blows out like the whole wall. That's why, because it's explosive charges. Monster likes to drink. They must be really drunk to not know what the hell this thing is. Don't take the guy's teddy bear. This is what happens. That's his... I don't know, that's a monster sex doll for all you know. That's what you did. You get burned. A little showcase of that statue structure, which the evil doctor will be impaled on later. 2 more Savage Southland murders take place in Glendale and in downtown LA. Now here's the thing, you don't know if that was the monster doing them, because I'm sure there's a lot more murders in this city than just what the monster's doing. There's probably a lot of other people murdering people, just regular people murdering people as well. What's up, Paul? I'm gonna go after him. I'm gonna kick its ass. As Robert Forster would say in Alligator, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna kick his ass. Rest in peace, Robert Forster. Great actor. Underrated actor. Wonderful in Alligator. That's the thing, movies like Alligator and this, you get good actors. Adult, grown-up actors. And again, you get the motivation here. It killed 2 more people. I have to go out there so that it doesn't kill any more people. It's a selfless act. Yes, there's a little bit of revenge in there for what happened to his ex, which you can't blame him for. But then he also says, listen, it killed 2 more people. If we wait any more, who knows how many other people to kill. It's a nice little thing. Hey, come back, okay? Nothing cringeworthy about it. Nothing cheesy about it. Yeah, Tracy Scoggins does a good job. And I would love to ask, like, what are these locations? Like, this bit here with all the... Like, what is this? With all these barrels. Be like... It's where they shot Men at Work with Emilio Estevez. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. Because I don't know. Because no one has any info on this. He's got the shotgun at his side. He's got this machine gun. Sadly, the machine gun doesn't get used a whole lot. It just used a little bit, but... Got the trench coat. And this type of film seemed like it would be fun to make and fun to do. And I think as a kid, you kind of put yourself in the movie, go, yeah, that would be fun. You get to wear dog tags and the stuff here. You get to have a machine gun. You get to go into a sewer, fight a monster, shoot shotguns, do stunts, kick barrels, do a barrel roll. It's underground. Makes sense. Be a best place to hide. So I gotta find a way to get down there. Like, I don't know what this place is at. Nice wide shot to show this area. Very nice wide shot. Nowadays it'd be all like, oh, just shoot on a green screen. Because it'd be cheaper, but also look laughable, because it's funny, haha. Like, is this like a real entrance to the sewer system? That's a big entrance to it. Like this here, is this like a real entrance? I would assume so. I mean, they're not going to build this. And then there's a cut. And like, okay, so is this like a set? See, I don't know. Okay, there's something writing on the wall. I couldn't read it. It went by too fast. But I always like the sewer system in movies because it creates a sense of claustrophobia. Darkness, it's wet, it's slimy, and like we can relate to it because there's sewers all around us where you live. But at the same time, it's not a place you want to be in. Again, is a compressed, claustrophobic, potential for a scary location for a monster. Labyrinth tunnels. I mean, you even have people on YouTube that literally venture into sewer systems. That sort of scary adventure quality to it. I do like the lighting coming from the ceiling. Gives a bit of a decent mood to it. Even that lighting there looks like, it's a little bit of a ripple, like a water reflection. And here's the monster stash. Loves women. Loves Twinkies. And dirtied up the bear quite a bit. Telling you, probably use it as a sex doll. But as snacks, as Twinkies. Look like a porno mag. Well, I guess a monster has his needs. I guess. Just takes out the eyes of the magazine. See that little like ripple light on his face to make it seem like it's the water reflection, like maybe the light. Just a nice little detail. And then the ear is like, what the hell is going on? Like this tracking seems like I'm on the right spot. But it was hiding. There you go. Ooh, I always thought there was such a nasty cut on the back. Just looks really gory and goopy. It's like, ooh. There you go, just spray and pray. That is a big, massive gash on the back. You don't blame him for having such a hard time walking with that big old gash. You'll see it later on when he's trying to climb up. Hammer baning. If you hear background noises, people have their radios outside and all that jazz. You know, I remember I did one of these. People like, man, where you live? I'm like, in the outland of nowhere, where people do like whatever they want. There you go. Monster doesn't like his tracking. Get the hell out of here. I guess he ran the wrong way, so he couldn't just go back to where he came from, but... don't throw the gun away. I mean, granted, it's him trying to escape, but... yeah, that ain't gonna happen. He's trying. Boom. There you go. Go right down the slide. I think in an interview, he, like, the 30 seconds, he mentioned this was like the first scene he shot. Marc Cena. This is like the first scene he shot, is him sliding down and going to this place here. I don't know if he mentioned some kind of swimming pool or what it was. And this is where he finds out that the monster does not like the bright light in his face. The shells are too wet, so it's not going to matter too much. Again, what makes the monster hurt? Bright light. There you go. That's why early in the film it was in this low... it was either in the dark or this low red light. And that would be showcased later. And then the guy passing out from the pain, I don't blame him. You take that big gash and see if you stay awake from the pain. Passed out. See, nowadays you could just have a cell phone and be like, yeah, I fucked up. It's on the way. Be on the lookout. But this is before cell phones. Maybe like a big old car cell phone the size of, I don't know, a watermelon, but... hey, Marc Cena, sit there. We'll put this rat right on you. By the end, I'm sure that was a piece of cake after what he dealt with on Beastmaster. I think Beastmaster 2 was after this, I believe. Some guys in a car just talking about Jesus. I do like this line. What the fuck is this? Planet Earth, man. You see a crazy white boy with a shotgun, I drive away as well. What do? Leave the couch there? Like, there's just a couch right there. wonder if that couch was there to begin with, or there's another line I liked. Now you're dead, you motherfucker. They threw away the tracker. There you go. Even this little old lady, she didn't do a bad job. That's the thing. It's not, they didn't just put like a really crappy actor. Like, so you to keep is real valuable. But it's already an hour and 24 minutes. We have like 13 minutes left. Went by quick. Here's, Tracy's going to deal with the creature. See, she's not a damsel in distress. She's not... I don't know what this whole notion is in the past 3-4 years that there's never been any strong women and strong females. I'm sitting there going, then you're stupid. Not just Ripley and Alien and Aliens, not just Sarah Connor, but almost every slasher film, it's the lady who kicks the villain's ass. Tons of monster movies have done it, like Tracy Scoggins in this. I mean, Mira Sorvino and Mimic, and I don't know. It's not Paul. He would have answered already. But I mean, that was a nice. Ooh, that's a nice stunt there. But I would say that's a nice. You think the monster's at the door, and you assume it's the monster at the door trying to go to bang it down, but then the monster's right behind her, and again, when she blasted, it was a nice stunt going out. Pew. Nice bit of business there. That's why I wonder if they just... I would assume they probably just got a stunt person to play the monster. It would make sense. Kind of like, Kane Hodder and these other guys, they did cast. No, it wasn't compassion. I don't know why he left you alive, but it wasn't compassion. It was probably laziness. Or be like... Again, some nice lighting here. I like the blue hue of it all. And the fan. Gives a nice little mood to it. Again, the reason the hole is so big is those explosive charges. But... That's the thing is that back then, you had to, with lighting, make this blue feel to it. Nowadays, they film it, and then they just alter it afterward, and it just feels a bit more phony. It just feels a bit more when they put filters in. It doesn't look natural. Like everything. Just more and more movies look less and less natural. There you go, the monster's like, I've had enough of your spit. I told you to get out of my face. I told you to get out of my way. I'm tired of your BS. Say hello. Boom, impaled. There you go. And just for good measure... Yeah. Just the eyeball. Got the second one. There you go. My old teddy bear was dirty, so now here's my new one. Again, that was a nasty cut, so you can't really blame, Marc Senior. He's doing his best. Again, I do like the monster. Again, the reason this place looks like this is because of the construction we saw early on. That's why you see these like boards and things don't seem completed, and there's like holes everywhere and all that jazz. The monster will crash right through this wall. But yeah, they definitely don't make movies like this anymore. Because there's few of us that like these type of movies. Let's be honest. I'm not blind to the fact that we're in a minority of people who like these kind of films. Most people look at this film, they go, it's boring, or it's cheap, or it's cheesy, which I hate that word. But I'm seeing like this is some really nice lighting. I think this is lit well. Especially when that bit when they're climbing up and you see the light pouring through these bits of the light shining through these spots. And this, like, was the dog climbing? Did they go, okay, when we have the ladder like this and then you just crawl over it, but when we tilt the camera and make it seem as if you're climbing? But really, you do. I mean, I don't know. Because it could have been, again, the ladder's like this, and they act like they're climbing, but they're really crawling, and then go over here. I mean, I'm guessing that's how that was done. Because that'd be a lot easier than trying to make a dog climb. And it'd be less dangerous. So I'm guessing that they had a ladder on like that. Not like that. There we have a rooftop, but again, I don't know if this was a set or what the deal is. Einstein tries to help. You'd always see like the suit ready to but that was fine because it seems like his skin being stretched out like it would before it gets torn off. There you go. There's Marc Senior. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker! You just have your hero just more of a... That's why I like this finale a bit more than the first. I like the first one's finale, but this one's like more of an actual fight. And going back and forth, boom, knife to the back, not quite dead yet, and then in for the finale. There you go, nice knife to the back. Never turn your back on a monster, even if you think it's dead. Just don't do it. But I thought this is a nice shot. See the monster, then her. Oh, no, no, no. Don't throw the Beastmaster like that. And don't forget the lights. There you go. That'll do it. Blind the sucker. And sometimes he just wants some shotgun fun. We got a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 score and 7 lives ago. You are dead. And the monster's like, I've had enough. Plus, it got fried for a little bit too. So not only did he get 4 shotgun shells, but a little bit electrocuted as well. There's Einstein, despite everything. There's still that bit of a link. Because, I mean, it was made from science. It didn't want to be born. But, like, you can understand Marc Senior. I mean, this is still the thing that killed his ex-wife. And you didn't even get into Tracy Scoggins. Like, it's dead. It is what it is. I like the music, too. This is probably my favorite piece of the music of the score. I thought the dog did a nice training on the dog as well. The give almost this like sad look. And as Roger Corman says, when the monster is dead, the movie is over. You have this nice music playing, fits the film well. Our three heroes are going to turn. The three go off. Fade to black. No sequel bait. No BS. If you do another one, you always think about it later. Again, I like this music. And again, when the monster is dead, the movie is over. And that's the way it is. And his character will definitely clear his name because, yeah, there's a monster. Oh, you don't believe me? It's right there. See, the monster is dead. And it's right there. Dakai as Einstein, Einstein's trainer, Don Spinney, assistant trainer, Alvin Mears, stunt coordinator, casting director. I'll watch it through the credits, but again, Watchers 2, childhood favorite, still holds up for me. I like the actors, I like the lead characters. The idea is fun in a B-movie way. It's entertaining. Has a couple decent bits of action. Has, all the things I mentioned, throughout this commentary. Adds up to a pretty damn decent movie that doesn't deserve a 4.2. Outsider created by Dean Jones and William Starr Jones. So, yeah, love the movie. I did a review of the film, done a commentary on the film. If you want to know more about my thoughts in a shorter manner, feel free to watch my review of Watchers 2. I did one like many, many years ago, but I did do a newer one like a month or so ago. Second unit director Louis Morneau. That name sounds familiar, didn't Louis Morneau, the second unit director, he's done stuff, I believe. I know that name sounds familiar, Louis Morneau. Can't remember what he did though. That name does sound familiar. I know I've seen films that guy's directed. So as it ends here, I'm just gonna look through the credits. Outsider's voice. Didn't even know there was a voice. Vision effect, motion opticals. There was a song called Cherry Lips. No animals were hurt or mistreated in the production of this film. I don't see if it said where it shot. It's not showing like where it shot location was. Usually they do. Recorded in ultra stereo. Well, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We will see you guys later. Bye-bye.